Hey guys, I am Matt and this is my channel, so welcome. I'm assuming because you're watching this video, that means that you are interested in moving a piece of equipment very similar to this one. This is the Inspire FT1 that I agreed to buy about a week ago. And so I looked around online for information on how to take this thing apart and or move it, and I could not find a video on YouTube about it. Now, maybe there is one and I just didn't see it, but I figured I would just make a video real quick in case there was somebody else want to do what I did, or considering they found a good deal on one of these and they're just wondering how hard is one of these things to move. So the answer is not that bad. It's you're going to need two people. It's required. You're not going to do this by yourself, and it's not going to go well if you try. You're going to put a hole in a wall or something. And that's just because when you separate the two halves, it's pretty much impossible to hang on to all the brackets, hold both of them up, and not drop one of them. And they, even without weights in them, they're pretty heavy. I actually took a dolly along and some other stuff that we wound up not using. It turned out to be easier just to carry them. So we just grabbed them on the front and just by the, where's the camera at? Here we go. Just grabbed a hold to them, laid them down and picked them up and carried them. But let me go through the tools that we used and then the order that we actually disassembled the thing in. There's probably more than one way to do this, and there may be other ways that I don't know about, but this is what we did and it worked. So here we go. All right, so tools you're gonna need: 6mm Allen, 5mm Allen, 4mm Allen. There's actually only two of these on the back, and there's a tube that holds up that instruction manual up there. The only ones that use this little 4mm are on the back of this guy right there. And you actually wouldn't have to take this apart because it would slide apart. But when you go to put it back together, it's really hard to get that lined up and stood up. So just take it off. So if at all possible, don't be the guy that shows up with one of these Allens. And I mean, you can do it that way, but the homeowner is going to be standing there waiting on you. If at all possible, use one of these, borrow it, whatever you got to do. Get you an adapter, use your sockets. And you could use a 17mm on the heads of the bolts if you wanted. Crescent wrench along with the impact works great. And that's what we used. So, the order of operations for taking this thing apart. I guess I had the camera this way. All right, so this guy's a little pretty little cover here. 2 bolts in the front, 1 bolt in the back. They're the 5mm variety. Pull them out, hang on to them, pull the cover off. We put the bolts right back in without the cover. And that way, you know, when it goes to move, I don't have a big bag of bolts. These are just in their homes. So when I go to put the cover on, I just pull the bolts out, put it back on there. So then this thing is this. So you got these safety screens in here, and they're just held on by 2 little bolts, one in the front, one in the back. And then you just lay it out of the way. Just lay it on the floor. And so, pull this guy out. And what you're going to wind up doing is, can you see it? Right there, there's a 6mm bolt, front and back. And you pull that top plate off. You're going to slide this top plate down just a little bit. Rock this bar towards you. And then this top plate will come off the top. So this retaining plate will come off the top. And then all you got to do is grab this guy and lift it out. And once you've lifted it out and got them out of the way, then you can start pulling weight stacks up and out of there. And that's the first thing you want to do is get all the weights off of it, because it's just, I mean, it's really heavy with all the weights in it. And so once you got the weights out of it, what you can do is get it away from the wall, start sliding it out from the wall, and you can get to behind it, and that's what actually holds it together. So there's 4 6mm bolts, and all of the structural bolts are 6mm. So you just get the biggest socket and your impact. And I actually left this one, the bar, until second. So first thing I did was take this bar off, 6mm bolt, bolt head, washer on each side, top and bottom. Pull those off. Then this will pick up off of there, and there is a washer or a bushing in the top. It'll come free. There's one on the bottom, plastic washers. and then you can lift this whole thing out. So you may want to take the accessories off of it and stow them in the truck first. Lift this guy out, get it out of the way, get behind it, get your buddy to hang on to it so these don't fall over. And then I pull the top bar, just leaving that bottom bar to hold it all together. And then my buddy's hanging onto it, took those bottom ones out, and then we just laid them down on the floor. Once they're laying on the floor, you could get them on their side, and we just grabbed right here, one guy in the front, one guy in the back, and we just carried it out. And that was pretty easy. Carrying the weight stacks is probably the most time consuming, and I was sweating pretty good by the time I carried them to the truck. But so that was that. So we basically, we had a moving blanket, wrapped them up, strapped them down in the truck, got here, reverse procedure, carried them inside, stood them up, put the bottom bracket on, put the top bracket on loosely, and then I put the middle brackets. So whenever you go put this all together, make sure your floor is level for one thing. And then just put all these bolts in nice and loose at first, and that'll keep it from falling over. And then once you have all the bolts started, then you go back and tighten everything up. Of course, then you put the weight stacks back on. To move it though, I pulled the weight stacks off and then I put these plates right back on. So you don't have to actually take these cables off or disconnect the cable anywhere. So you don't have to worry about the cable routing or any of that stuff. So it's really not bad. And by doing that, I put these, when we went to move it, we just took the weight stacks off, put these back on. I didn't put the covers back on, but I put these back on, and then I put this top plate back on with these bars locked in. So everything was together. The only thing you really have to worry about that is when you roll one of these over, so like left to right to stand it back up, that weight usually will be here and it will snap down. And if you have your fingers in any of this mechanism, you could hurt yourself. We didn't, but you could. But I think other than that, it really wasn't, it's not that bad to move one. I wouldn't be scared of it. If you find a good deal on one, it seems like a pretty heavy, really, really nicely. I haven't used it for anything other than moving it. I moved it last night, like I said. But it seems like it's really well built and pretty heavy. So anyway, if you find a good deal on one, I wouldn't be scared to buy it. But anyway, thanks for stopping by. I hope maybe I helped you out. Talk to you later. Bye.